are listening to the Artist Podcast, where artists define what art is.
Hello. Can you hear yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. This is the third episode of the Art Is podcast. Art is defining what art is. And I have a special guest, Miss Tormi, from P.S I Love Me. Tormi, would you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. Hi. My name is Tormi Coleman. I am originally from Baltimore, Maryland, but I live in Los Angeles, California now, and I am the owner and the designer of P.S I Love Me.
P.S I Love Me. Fucking love it. So, like, being that this, podcast is called The Art Is... Oh, no, wait, hold on. The Art Is podcast. Oh, shit. What is art to you?
That's, to me, art is a feeling. It's emotion. It's a passion. It's a talent. It's a dream. It's pretty much anything that defines you for who you are inside and out. That's how I would define art. On my perspective is I wear it. I just don't wear it. I believe in it. It's an affirmation too. It's actually something that keeps me calm. It opens me up. And it shows the world who I am.
Okay. All right. Right on. So what was what was the birth of P.S. I Love Me? Can you take us through that journey?
Ooh, that's a deep one. Okay. So, I went through a phase in my life when I was in college, when I was in art school, when I was going through like a sexuality kind of thing. I was gay for a long period of time, and then I started dating guys, and then I realized when I went through the two guys, it wasn't really like what I wanted. So I kind of went back to the girl field. But as I was going through that, I was going through a phase where I didn't like who I was because I was dark skinned. I thought being a dark skinned, short, skinny woman, size 0, 4'11", was ugly. It wasn't what I seen on television. It wasn't what my friends was looking like. As you can see, I'm not into makeup. But I can put it on and look great with it, and I will look great without it. But I'm not into makeup, but I'm into fashion. Don't get me wrong. I love clothing, but I'm just not into makeup. I'm not into, the plastic surgery. I'm not a big girl. So to me, being that skinny, dark-skinned, frail girl in art school and design school around all these other girls that are like click-clackers, that are like 10 times better than me, it put me in a place where I was like, damn, I'm ugly. Excuse my French. And then a lot of my friends was light-skinned, super light-skinned. I was in D.C. I was going to Arlington, Virginia in art school in D.C. So I went through a time where I thought I was ugly. So one day I went through a part where I wanted to like hurt myself, and I had a friend at the time who was like, whoa, this is not what we're going to do. We're going to work on this. You're a beautiful girl inside and out, Tormi. I see something in you that you don't see in yourself. So we had like a girls' night out. We got drunk or whatever. We weren't supposed to be drunk. Got drunk or whatever. I woke up the next morning, and she had wrote P.S. I Love Me in my mirror with a kissy face. So I looked at it, and I kind of wiped it off the mirror, got in the shower, got out the shower. She put it back on the mirror. So I'm like, okay. So I'm looking at this every day, and at this point, I didn't take it off. So now it went from her just putting on this mirror, from me transferring it from my bathroom mirror to my room mirror to my little makeup mirror to like my little piece in my bathroom, down to me writing on Facebook at the time. Every time I wrote a quote, I would say ... P.S. I love me. So it became an affirmation that I created, and I was in art school. My teacher went down to me saying, you have to create a store. You have to have a business plan. You have to have a name for it. You have to have X, Y, and Z for my exit project. So basically, P.S. I Love Me was the name. It became the name. I felt like if I can believe in it, and it can change my mindset, and it can change, who I was, it need to be a household name for everybody. Even if it's just on t-shirts, even if it's on bedding, it has to be a household name. But because I'm into fashion, that's where it's gonna go.
I think that's really beautiful, because I feel like advertisement, the media, just messages as kids, we constantly hear the white narrative, and the white narrative states that white is beautiful, black, brown, yellow, all this. We're not necessarily. I feel like we're more we look down on ourselves,
Yeah, we're brainwashed to, and I hate to say, I'm about to go to my hood where they say light skin is a race skin, and that's just something that we always thought about. Like, oh, because you are lighter than a brown paper bag, you're the right skin. So you're gonna get into this school, or you're gonna be able to be on this television show, or you're gonna look like this, or you're gonna get this guy, or you're gonna get this girl. You're gonna just be able to stand in front line and be this person, and it's like, wow, just because I decided, wear my hair in my natural form and not wear weaves. But I did have a perm at the time. But just because I decided to wear my hair in my natural form and I decided to, like not wear makeup, I was looked down upon. And it kind of made me felt bad on the inside. But at the end of the day, that was something I had to work on. And it's still a work in progress. It's still a work in progress. Moving from the East Coast to the West Coast was a culture shock for me. So that was another process I had to go through. I had to figure out, yeah, I love who I am and I love my physical being, but now I have to love my attitude. Now I have to love how I carry myself. Or now I have to love how someone else looks at me no matter what. Even though I know I look good. And they're not looking at me because I look good. They're looking at me like, she ain't from here. She's very interesting. And I have to understand that part of it. I had to adapt to a culture shock too. I'm used to an area where everybody was black and white. Black and white. If you was Latino or if you was Mexican, you was like, oh, hey, what's up? You know what I mean? Puerto Rican was predominantly and Dominicans. But they blended in with us. It was really hard to see them because at the end of the day, they acted like us. White folks came to school and were like, oh, it was probably like 3% white people in my high school. And I'm probably counting on one hand. Which is kind of dope, but it's like,
Do you these affirmations? Do you feel like like family, friends, people? Have they adopted it as well?
oh yeah, my mom loves it. My mom's my number one supporter. My little brother is my number one supporter. The affirmations of P.S. I Love Me was created solely because, I love myself, but it was created for a foundation for me to create for my family. I come from a huge background. I have a lot of brothers and sisters, a lot. And I have a blended family. So when I created a clothing line, it's just not a clothing line for me. Like, people's like, oh, you design clothes. Yeah, that's something I love. My great grandmother taught me that. Don't get me wrong. She taught me how to sew. I sat at a sewing machine when I was younger. My grandmother sews. My mom doesn't sew. But I took that hobby and it was like, wow. So I was going to create a business, but I come from a line of entrepreneurs. So P.S. I Love Me affirmation kind of pushed my family to push more. My mom has her own business. My uncle has his own business. Ooh, all my uncles had it. I have 5 uncles. All of them had their own business. And it was like the minute that I dropped my clothing line, the day that the website dropped, and I opened it up and my family, like literally, it was bing, 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 bing. And I was looking at the orders. My mom, not my mom, my wife was like, who is this? I was like, oh, that's grandma. Oh, that's my uncle. Oh, that's my cousin. Oh, that's so-and-so. Oh, that's so-and-so. And Chrissy's like, it's just the support of P.S. I Love Me, period, because at the end of the day, if you don't love yourself, you won't nobody else. And love comes from within, and love was taught from home. My great-grandmother used to tell me all the time, like, girl, if you don't love yourself, ain't no man gonna want you. Girl, you gotta get yourself together. Like, that's taught from the grain in the black home, like, in a southern black home, for one. My grandmother told me, you gotta love yourself first. Like, I used to come home, man, I ain't got no friends. She was like, because you ain't a friend of yourself. You gotta be friends yourself first. If you can't be your own best friend, then why are you gonna expect somebody else to be your friend? I wouldn't want to be your friend either. She'll walk out the room. That was a lesson learned. That was something that I was like, she right. I wouldn't be my friend either right now. I just did some bitch shit to her. Like, I wouldn't want to be my friend. So like that affirmation wasn't. I mean, it's something that it was ingrained in me, and it came from different lessons. Get back up, fall again. It's one of those things. If you fall, you have to get back up, and it's the same thing with love. Like, even you can fall out of love with yourself, but you just go in the bathroom, clean yourself up, get your hair cut, get your hair done, get your nails done. Girl, I look good. I love myself, right? You know, it's okay to go in and out of it, but I might be going off track, but
No, you're completely on track.
it's just, I don't know. I think it was ingrained into me, and I believe that the fact that when I launched the clothing line, my grandmother was like, I knew you could do it. I knew you could do it. My mom was like, I knew you could do it. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. It's to the point where I went home for Christmas. I gave them everything P.S. I Love Me for Christmas. I couldn't afford it because I was giving up so much money into my business, but I know, I was like, oh, I got a clothing line. I could size them with a little bit of product. They were so happy to get it. So happy to get it. If my family's my biggest support, and I feel like if I didn't have my family, I don't know where I'd be right now.
And we were talking earlier about the names of your products.
Oh.
And that was like completely interesting to me because I had no fucking clue. No clue.
Yeah. Yeah. If you go on my website, the names of my product are named after people in my family. The AG shirt, that's my great grandmother, Augusta Williams. We used to call her AG when she used to go off and we were like, all right, AG. Like, it's bringing tears to my eyes because she passed, but that's my girl. The AG shirt, that's named after her. I have the Taylor hoodie. I have the London, which is my goddaughter. I have the Vegas, which is my god sister. I have pretty much everything. It's pretty much named after different people. I even have one after my mom, the Joyster. And I did that because without them, I don't know where I would be, because without my mom, I wouldn't be here. Without Augusta, I could not know where I would be at right now. I'll probably still be in biology, somewhere still in school right now, trying to get my third degree, thinking that I can work for the crime lab. You know what I mean? Because believe it or not, my first 2 years in college, I went to school to be for science. I was a biology major. And I was like, Mom, I'm not doing this no more. She looked at me. She said, are you sure?
You guys hear that? That's my dog. She's trying to get into the room. Apologize. You're gonna hear her whining.
Oh.
But where were we at? So you were gonna you if it wasn't for their support, all right. So like your family supporting you your ride or dies. But what obstacles have you had to overcome by yourself that even their support, really the like?
Ooh.
Yeah, like, so what like, and as
About to get serious.
yeah, because like as an artist, I understand the support. The family support is very much needed.
Mm-hmm.
Your cheerleaders are amazing, but there's certain external things that you have to face yourself. Would you like to share any of those?
Yeah, and it's weird because even if I went through them by myself, there at the beginning, at the end, there was always someone at the tunnel. At the end of the tunnel, I was like, I'm still gonna be here no matter what. One of the biggest obstacles I went through was me and my sexuality. Believe it or not, my grandmother has her doctorates in religion. My grandmother has 4 degrees.
Damn.
She is, if she was to literally get ordained, she could be the first female pope. Well, not the first, but she could be a female pope. Yeah. So that right there.
Yeah.
LG is her name when she's mad. It's that wasn't an easy pill to swallow. And then the fact that my mom was not too happy about it. I was my mom's first girl. I'm her only biological girl. My mom had 3 kids, but two are living. So it's just like my mom's like, you're my oldest. How you gonna do me like that? I had dreams. I had this house on the hill. I wanted you to marry this rich guy, get this beautiful wedding, have these kids. I said I could still do that. It's just in a different form now. Like it's my decision. And she's like, why have to be like that? And I'm like, it's not that. It's just like I'm not comfortable with that kind of person. Like, don't get me wrong. I have brothers, I have uncles, and growing up I was just like my mom. My mom is the oldest of 5, and my mom is the only girl. She had 4 brothers. Then my mom had me. I was the first grandchild on my mom's side. So then I went to go live with my grandmother, so I'm around my uncles too. And it's like growing up, being from here to here to here to here to here, and I'm still right because we're close in the family. I see how they treat me. Then my mom has my brother, and then my mom remarries. I have older brothers now, and I'm looking at them, and I'm like, don't none of y'all change. Like, not one of y'all are decent. And I'm not saying decent in a bad way. I'm just saying, like, they just taught me life lessons. Like, it's just, I just know what and what not to do. And to me, a guy was never really appealing. I'm not blaming them for it. No. They just gave me the lessons to not go that route. And thank God that I wasn't the person in high school to be like, oh, let me try this and then go back here. Because I probably would have been pregnant. Lord knows. Whew. God is a blessing. Thank you, Jesus. But it's just, I just never was really comfortable with a guy. Conversation wise, just like we can, like, I can join with you all day, like, you know, we can play all day. But when it comes to like aspirations and like things that I want to do in life, and we can bounce off ideas, I haven't found a man that could catch my attention like that than I have in the females I've chosen. Now, the cool thing is I was always like this. From when I was a little girl, I used to look at girls like, ooh, her butt kind of big. Ooh. But growing up with my grandmother in the church, it's like, that's wrong. You can't do this. I can't do this. I'm like, ew, I'm looking at this lady butt like, oh my God, that's so disgusting. But that was me growing up when I was 4 and 5. Damn. I mean, I probably wasn't 4 or 5. I probably was 5 and 6 and 7. Because I was 5, 6, and 7. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because that's when you start getting like the crushes on like.
Yeah, and my crushes was girls. My crushes was girls. I was like, oh, she's pretty. Oh, she's cute. But it wasn't like I never wanted to be the tomboy. I always loved wearing pretty dresses, get my nails done, get my hair done. But I was like, oh, she's pretty. Oh, she's cute. And I don't know if because of my security is coming from, you know, the female figures I have in my life, because they have always been the ones that have been strong to me. Don't get me wrong. The male figures are strong because they are the ones that are security. Yeah. I look at males to be my security. I look at my males to be my knight in shining armor. Like the men in my life are here for security. They're here for strength. They're here for stability. You get what I'm saying? I might look at it differently. Somebody can appeal to it. I'm sorry. We can have a poll on this, but I feel like my females are the females that I come from are my strength. They're my roots. They're the ones that keep you grounded. They're the ones that keep you on track. They're the mamas. They wake you up to get to school on time. They make sure your hair done. They make sure you fed. They make sure you at school. They make sure your homework's done. You know what I mean? They're the ones that are rooting you. They're the ones that are raising you from the inside out. They create you. So to me, those are my comfort. Like those are the ones I go to when I want to cry. Okay. I call my uncles when I want to fight. Yeah. You know what I mean? I go to them when I want to cry, or when I want to get emotional connection, or when I want something real, or when I want something truthful. Because to me, every time I go to my uncles, there's always playfulness. It's always security. It's like, kids should be seen and not heard, or you're a woman, you walk on this side of me. It's like, which is, it's understandable.
So does the message of P.S. I Love Me align more with the relationship you've had with the females of your family, or with the males?
No, it's all of them, because to be honest, my uncles, no matter what, they were the main ones that when they found out, they wasn't mad. They were just like, man, you too pretty for that, yo. And I was like, why does it have to have a look? They like, I mean, I don't care. I mean, now we can go out and do it together. But it's just like, come on, yo. I said, so for me to bring a guy home, for y'all to kill him. And they're like, yeah, you right. You can't bring no man home. So if I know that, why would I do that? Like, and when I did in college, it wasn't an easy pill for them to swallow. Yeah. The only ones that understood was my mom. And my mom was like, okay, are you sure? I'm like, I'm going to try it out. First one, we had a terrible breakup. Oh, my God. Whew. arguments on Facebook and everything. Like, going back and forth. My mama got into it. Play. Mama don't play about her baby, but she got into it and everything. I was like, Ma, you can't do that. Second one, I mean, it wasn't bad. We're still friends. It's just like we grew apart, and it's just like I wasn't feeling I wasn't feeling it. It just wasn't a good time in my life. We were both ending school. We were leaving school. We were trying to, figure out where we wanted to be. And I was like, I don't think I want to be tied down right now. And at the time, I didn't want to be in a relationship. So I kind of rode a coaster for a month. I mean, for a couple of months. It was about like 6-7 months.
And how's your creativity when you're going through all that, through letting your family know, coming out to your family, going through these relationships? How were you inspired, or do you needed to heal, and through your art you created?
Okay, so the cool thing about this is when I first came out, I came out when I was in the 10th grade, going into 11th grade in high school. Well, I kind of already came out, but my parents didn't believe me. Nobody believed me. So when I originally came out, I was in high school. Like, my mom was kind of upset about it. Actually ran away. Ooh, ran away. That was a funny time in my life just to be with a girl. But then during that moment, during those periods in my life where I felt like I was alone and I didn't have anybody in my corner, I did have my best friends, and I had my great-grandmother. That's the crazy thing. My great-grandmother did not pass away until I was 25. Yeah, I'd be 33 Friday. So, yeah, 25. So,
That's like a blessing, because
I was raised with about 7 generations.
What?
Yeah. My great-grandmother's sister, Aunt Hattie, is still alive.
What? How old is she?
My great-grandmother would have been almost 90. And Aunt Hattie's probably 70, in her mid-70s.
Okay.
And she had 11 sisters. My grandmother had 11 kids. Yeah, I was raised with. Yeah, I was a sixth generation. Yeah.
And how and your art, do you feel more inspired through your past or through what's presently happening?
Both.
Okay.
Past and present. And the reason why I say past is because, how people say, oldies but goodies, memories, growing up, seeing stuff in your past. My great-grandmother hot combing my hair and burning the hell out of me, and me running around the house and she's throwing a slip at me reminds me of, oh yeah, let me make a slip dress.
Oh shit. Okay.
You know what I mean? It's just like those memories, or like I'll cook something and I'm like, that reminds me of Christmas.
Yeah.
And we're running through the house and my mom has us in matching onesies. And I'm like, why she didn't let me pick out the onesies? You know what I mean? But then those are the onesies I go pick out for me and my wife to take pictures in.
Mad.
You know what I mean? Or those are the ones that I decide to make. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Those are those things that help me with my creativity. And then in the present, right now, even me talking to my mom, and my mom's hit me with the, oh wow, I can tell you're getting older.
Oh shit.
Because you're saying this and you're saying that. I'm like, what you mean? And she's like, because back then you said you was going to put all this in your clothes. And I was like, Mom, I would never do anything derogatory like that. She's like, you're growing up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just those little things and just little conversations and little pieces that I have, or just like even an argument with my friends inspires me. It makes me want to go in there and just work a little bit harder and just figure out what I want to do. But a lot of the past has driven me to create P.S. I Love Me. I've had a lot more pain. I've been through a lot. I've been through some abuse, some molestation that I got over with, down to the point where we forgave each other. I forgave the person.
Damn, that's big.
It's no point in holding on to something that's neither one of you guys' fault.
Yeah.
It's an action that someone created, but it's an action that can be fixed.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, we have to protect our black brothers. Okay. We cannot go around. It's one thing if it continues.
Okay.
If you fix it, fixing it is we can replace it.
Okay.
We can. I mean, you can always repair something that's broken. Yeah. If you don't keep breaking it, but if you keep breaking it, you can't repair it at that point.
Yeah. And just the that makes me think about the name of your brand.
Yeah.
Because they say, like, you know, in relationships you always hear this, like, if you, like, and you said it earlier, like, if you don't love yourself, who are you gonna love? You know.
Exactly. Yeah.
So just by having that affirmation, it goes deep, and it can and have the power to heal, you know, these like past traumas that are passed down from like even 7 generations, you know, just by saying that simple thing of, you know, I love me, you know, and seeing the person who hurt you, you know. So do you see people now from your past who might have done wrong to you? Do you see it differently, especially with like that affirmation that you're wearing and you're having other people wear?
Yes and no, and I'm being 100% honest because I'm human. There's some situations that I'm going through now with people that I'm like, wow, the fuck you do that to me for? The fuck, really? Me out of all people? But I have to heal from that, and that's me being human. And because the situation happened in the now, it's like, damn. But tomorrow I'm gonna be like, if first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. I'm gonna be like, I ain't thinking about you. Sorry, not sorry. But I mean, it's just the factors of life. Like, you have to go through that. You have to go through that. And I have healed from a lot of past. Me and my fiance's been together for 8 years. Believe it or not, we've been engaged for 7.5.
Damn. You knew right away.
No, not me. She. I was like, really?
Oh,
the fuck? Me? Are you kidding me? I'm Cardi B Jr. Really? Yeah. Are you kidding me? Like, do you really? I looked at her like, you wanna marry me? She's like, yeah. I'm like, for real? You wanna spend the rest of your life with my crazy ass? Like, she's like, yeah. I was like, okay, cool. And you know what? I loved her, and I loved her then, but I love her more now. It's weird, and I'm keeping it 100. I loved her then, and I was in love with her then, but I'm more in love with her now. Cause if you don't take time, and if you don't heal, and if you don't take the process, and you don't have nobody that's willing to heal with you, because we heal through a lot of things together. Yeah.
Do you feel like yourself 8 years ago, or even, you know, when you came out, would you have adopted that affirmation of P.S. I love me?
Back when I was when I first came out, ooh, no. I'm gonna be honest. I give it 100%. The affirmation, like just the creation of the name and me believing in it, was from my good friend. If it was not from her, and the weird thing is we haven't spoken in years. I haven't spoke to her in years, but she'll know exactly who she is. I'm not gonna say her name, but she knows exactly. But I haven't spoke to her in years. But if it wasn't for her, that affirmation. I probably would have never believed in that. I probably would have made it something else. It probably would have been I love me or something else. You know what I mean? Or probably just would have been my name, just because my name's Tormi, and the fact that my mom named me Tormi and I'm the only one with it right now, like it's like, and that was something I had to go through too. Yeah. That was like, I was like, the fuck is Tormi? Like, why am I like, for a long time I didn't hate my name. I dishonored it. And I'm not going to say I disliked it. I dishonored it. I didn't respect it. Okay. I didn't care for it. I was like, it is what it is. Whatever. It's just a different name. My mom just made something up. Like, it's some bonquisha name. And to be honest, it wasn't no ghetto name. Yeah. And you know what's funny? The day I respected my name, it's a weird segment. And it took a long time for me to respect it. I started to respect it because I started to notice the originality in it when I was in college. But I started to respect it when I was looking for a job. And I applied for Joseph A. Banks. This was, I was with the 6 years ago. When I was hired 6.5 years ago. Around this time, October to be exact.
Oh, shit.
So I applied for the job, and I get a phone call, and it's this guy. He's on the phone, and this is so funny. My mom was mad when I told her the story. I was cracking up. He's like, "So, hi, can I speak to Mr. Tormi Coleman?"
Oh.
I was like, speaking. He's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry."
Yeah.
"You're a female?" I said, "Yeah." He's like, "So is it Tommy?" I said, "No, it's Tormi. You pronounced it right." He's like, "Beautiful name." I said, "Thank you." And I got the job after I went in for the interview. But the fact that on paper, you can't define who I am.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, that's why. My mom was thinking long term. Yeah. And like, I couldn't think, like, it was so, yeah, it's different, but it's so unique that you really can't mess it up. But you can't figure out who that person is walking through. It's no race, it's no sex, it's like I'm an alien. We are not the same. I am a Martian. Like, and that was that I realized. I was like, my name is really powerful, because the fact that if you cannot identify who I am by my name, you have to really sit down and meet me to know who I am.
Yeah. And it's like we base who we are by what other people say, or how other people perceive us, or how we want to be perceived by other people. But other people don't know, and you are like layers. You're breaking out these layers where you're like coming more into who you are and accepting yourself and really defining yourself, even by something that you've had since you were born. Mm-hmm. Since that second you were born, Tormi.
Yeah, for the second I was born, it was like Tormi, and I was like, my name.
So
my name.
So I'm gonna jump at this, like, because I asked you about, like, would you have taken that affirmation when you're a younger girl? How are you trying to reach young people?
Okay, so that just by the affirmation by itself, and that's something I'm working on too. I'm very shy when it comes to social media. I hate it. No, don't get me wrong. I love social media. I like to post it. I like to watch things. But when it comes to my face, talking and speaking on social media, that's not my thing. You know what I mean? I feel like I cannot do it. I'm working on trying to figure out how to be a what they call it, a public speaker. I want to reach out to younger women. I want to let them know, if I can do it, you can do it. And I want to start with just showing them how I came from east to west. That's something that was hard too. Me moving from Baltimore to LA. And a lot of my friends are looking at me like, how are you doing it? And I'm like, girl, I'm just putting these Nikes on. I'm just doing it. I mean, it's no other way to do it. You know what I mean? So it's just, that's the way I want to get to these children. Like, I want to talk to them. I want to reach out to them. I actually have a nonprofit organization that's called Help for the Homeless.
Oh, shoot, okay.
And thank you. And a lot of people don't realize that it's not just for people outside that are homeless. There are people that live in their cars. There are children that don't have a stable home. Mm-hmm. There are children that are in a household with parents who cannot afford to have them. Yeah. That's still considered homeless. Because your mom's just putting a roof over your head, but you don't have the things to survive in that home. Yeah. So they go outside and do other things. So I want to get to them before they start doing other things. So that's what I want to start doing. My nonprofit is going to set up to where, because I'm into fashion and I'm into the beauty of things, I'm doing toiletries. Okay. I basically fund people with toiletries, women with toiletries, men with toiletries. I'm going to start reaching out to people, see if I can do like drives where we can like cut hair, do nails, groom them. I can even, get them dressed. Yeah. So, just show them how to hem up a quick hole in their shirt so they can look decent. Yeah. You know what I mean? Help them get on their feet. Help them look good. Yeah. even if you don't have a home, you can still walk inside a building and fill an application and look like something.
I was once in Skid Row and I was speaking to someone there and they said, you know, you see all these people walking around, you know, and the best thing you could do and the only thing you do is be like, and it could be as simple as just like your shoes, man, you know, you're looking good, or like even just something small goes a long way. So you on the toiletries, the haircut, you know, clothes, whatever it is, like it's. I'm hearing all this, and I'm seeing your grandma, you know, like being like that. What you talked about your grandma, like all that's the fruit of her labor, you know. Damn, it's like it all seems to come in circles, you know, without us even like expecting them to.
Growing up, I used to get my mom used to cuss me out. This story is funny. So my mom is a nurse, so she was working at the hospital. My dad took us there one night to go meet her. She was working night shift, so we was eating lunch in the cafeteria. And my mom had just got paid, and I think I got like in elementary school, middle school, when it came to work, my grades was like C average. Like if I got a C, it was like high five, girl. If I got a B, it was like, oh, I'm gonna give you some money. If I got an A, it was like $100. Here you go. So I think I got like $100. I think I got like 2 A's or something. So my mom had gave me $150. Right?
Middle school.
Yeah, middle school. Right, that's sweet. I didn't respect it. I did not. So we're in there, and I turned around, and I thought they were homeless people. I don't know if they were con artists. I don't know, but my mom was pissed with me. Yeah. But let me tell you the story. So we're in there, and I go to the counter in the hospital to get something, and the old lady stopped me. Was like, "You're a pretty little girl." I think she was a Caucasian older woman, and it was an older guy too, and they looked pretty homeless. And she was like, "We're hungry, this, and I need some money for food." And I was like, "I don't have any change, but I have the $100. Here you go."
No. And your mom was there?
Yeah, so I give her the $100 and I walk over to the table, happy go lucky. Mom was like, "Why are you so happy?" I said, "So the homeless lady told me this crazy story." She was like, "What homeless lady?" I was like, "That lady that's walking out the door right there." She was like, "What you got?" I said, "I gave her my $100. Can I have another one?" I was like, "No." She cussed me out.
I would too. Shoot, I'm like.
My dad was cracking up, so he waited till my mom left, and he gave me $100. But my mom cussed. She's like, "You don't do that. You give them dollar. You don't give them nothing. No, when it comes to the homeless people, you don't talk to nobody. Like, and like I've always had a soft spot for the needy. Yeah. My mom's like, "Yo, I swear, you." And your strays, like, not saying it in some funny way, she's calling them strays. She's like, you just have a soft spot for them. Like, you'll do anything for them. Like, one day I took my shoes off and gave them to him. I was down the harbor. This lady walking down barefoot. I'm like, I feel like they about this, but I'm like, look, I'm going in my car. I got shoes in my car. She can have these little cheap sandals. Yeah. Here you go.
So when your company is big, how are you gonna help?
This nonprofit is not just about toiletries. It's about me creating a foundation for those that are in that homeless limbo to be able to get out. I was homeless. When I moved to LA, I think it was around a year and a half, I became homeless. Me and my wife had to sleep in the car, homeless shelter. I mean, not shelters, but we slept in the car. We had hotels a couple of nights, and then we stayed at a couple of friends' house every now and then. But I think it was for about 3-4 months. We went to work. Nobody ever knew, with no problem. But if we would have had somewhere where someone could go to, where they had a room or apartment that was put together for a person or a couple or a small family to stay in for a limbo time, it would have helped, or help find resources to get them in apartments where, I just want to be able to help people through that limbo period, even if it's just me creating a apartment building and just giving it to a bunch of not homeless people, but people who are in need. Like, just donating the rooms to them. That's something that I will do. It's a lot more to it. It's stuff I want to do in Africa. I want to give back to the community in Africa in far more ways where it's going to build an economy. I want to build economies out of this. P.S. I Love Me is LLC. And I created an LLC because I have living almost 15 brothers and sisters. Around that, yeah. So I made an umbrella company so that if anyone in my family needs anything, we can create it. I'm not giving you the money. Create it. That's the best way to do it. And I have a foundation, and that's why I'm working so hard. That's why I moved out to LA. I'm the only one in my family that moved out here.
And when did you say you moved over here?
March 2016.
2016.
It's been what, 4 years?
Okay.
Yeah. Was it March 2016? Yeah. Yep.
By that time, did you have already conceived P.S. I Love Me?
Okay, so P.S. I Love Me, I started when I was in college. So that was around like 2010, 2009 area. It was in a planning. I created like a business plan, a proposal, all that was in like my archives. That was like my Bible. And I still have it to this day. And I even have the actual cardboard storefront I created. That I got an A on, by the way. Thank you.
Hey.
And that was created around that time. And then when I met Chrissy, I was just and I was just sewing pieces for me, you know, doing little stuff that I wanted to do, help my mom with the curtains, because my mom's a low key. She's a registered nurse, but low key, she's the dopest interior designer I've ever met.
Okay.
And she's not gonna tell you that because she really has not had the chance, because in Baltimore our house has been under construction.
Okay.
But she's the dopest interior designer I've ever met. Like, this is the woman I've never met nobody that can take a table that looks like the Grim Reaper gave it to us and made it look like it came from Caesar's Palace. Like, my mom would repost a couch. And I think that's where my creativity came from too as well. Okay. Growing up, we used to have pottery Sundays. We used to go and do clay. We used to do, like, my mom used to make statues.
Okay.
I think my mom was the only apartment in her neighborhood that had real live, like, glass vases that was tall people. My mom had all white couches. I'm like, lady, you got a whole child right here. Yeah. White couches, white vases. She got Mona Lisa statues. Like, I'm like, who do you think you are? Like, going to bathroom, Miss Cheetah Girl out. Yeah. She got a whole real live, like, lion sculpture that she molded with her own hands and painted it. And I helped her paint it. My mom was super creative. Curtains, she taught me. That's another thing. I used to sew her curtains for her. Yeah. Reupholster couches. That's another thing where my creativity came from, and I think that's how I knew. I've always worked with my hands. Okay. I've always been a visual person. I've always worked with my hands. I'm dyslexic.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So I kind of look at things differently. So that's why designing clothes and sewing to me comes easy. Okay. Because I'm able to look at it in the flip, and I'm able to visualize. Like, I can actually look at a person and say, this look dope. Okay. Like, I can put an outfit together in my head and it'll come together. And she's like, how did you do that? I'm like,
Yeah. So do you let me look at my questions.
I know we going off sometimes.
No, it's good. Because we're getting I'm getting a better understanding of who you are. You know, because I know Tormi as, like, clothing designer. Mm-hmm. You know, I know you as, because that's how I met you. You know, so hearing these things, I'm able to see, like, there was no other thing you were meant to do. You know.
Yeah, I used to dance too.
You used to dance too?
Oh my God!
You still dance or no? You ain't dancing?
I get it in the house.
Yeah. Okay.
I started dancing when I was 2 years old. Okay. I did every. Ballet, tap, modern, jazz, hip hop. I did point. I hated point. Okay. I did point for a year and a half, and I cried to get out of it. My mom's like, your posture has to be great. Yeah. And I'm like, because my mom was a model too. Okay. And my mom just like, you're going to be tall. But she realized, because I was, back in the day, believe it or not, in middle school I was the tallest person. In elementary school I was the tallest kid in my class. Yeah. Not anymore.
Yo. But do you feel like education was needed for your creativity? Like, what purpose has education served? Because I'm hearing, like, your grandma taught you how to sew. Like, this was already in your household. You saw your mom working with her hands. You were dancing, like, And you're telling me like you have all these family members, so like there is like even if creativity is there, even by like storytelling, by everything, like what benefits have you gotten from like education?
The business part.
The business part?
Yeah. I do not want to be a bad advocate. I am an advocate of education. Go
Okay.
get your education. I believe in it 100%. Growing up, to me, education, like going to college without an option. Like I didn't have an option. Like it wasn't. Nah, my grandmother had 3 degrees by the time I graduated high school. My grandmother is a career college student, and so is my uncle.
Okay.
You know, my uncle got offered to work for BET, be head of graphic design. He said no to be a tennis coach. Hey,
Yeah.
but he got a lot of degrees though. So, but to me, no. I wish I would have. I don't wish. Okay, so it taught me discipline.
Okay.
There were a lot of ropes that they did teach you a lot of tricks and trades. They did teach me the business aspect behind it. The retail math behind it. I did learn how to base. Like the cool thing is, I went to school for fashion retail management as well.
Okay.
So I'm able to run a store. So it grew me for my job after that because then I became a manager for Joseph A. Banks, and I was there. I was a manager for 5 years.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it grew me to be that person too. So because I went to school and I learned the business aspect of it, it allowed for me to go to a job to be a manager, and now I can learn the male tailoring behind it. And that was
Okay.
another chapter it gave me.
Okay.
I know suits like the back of my hand,
Okay.
and that's another thing I'm working on.
Okay. So what would you tell your like Tormi now, about to be 33? What would you tell yourself going into college and like, you know, like your first semester or second semester? What advice would you give yourself?
Okay, this is weird because I'm kind of hard on myself, and then that's the leader in me because I get beat up about it because it's weird. I'll go through something, but I don't see the growth. To be honest, just this morning I was sitting there like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be here. You're supposed to be there. You're supposed to have your own house. You're supposed to have this. You're supposed to have this. You're supposed to have this right now. And I'm like, but I got my own business. I'm in LA. I'm doing something that I probably would not have done if I didn't do it back then. So the 33-year-old me, who would tell the college me, I probably would still go through college. Just because that was an accomplishment that I had to do for myself. That was something that I did for my family as well. And because it wasn't an option, it was just something that it was naturally embedded to me. Like I had to grow up and go to college. Like I come from a Southern black family. Like grandmother who is legacy of Delta. Like I better go to college. She has 3 degrees. Her mama didn't go to college. My grandmother has a whole degree for dental. Never even used it. I'm trying to figure out why. But it's like I had to go to college. So for me to go to college, that was the experience I had to go through. And without that experience, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at right now. College slowed me down in a certain sense because the people I was hanging around, they were going to parties. And yeah, I would go to parties with them, but I'd be like, all right, it's 2 o'clock, I'm leaving. They'd be like, all right, we're going to the after hour. 2 o'clock, I'm going home, I have to study. I don't care, I got a 10 o'clock class. What you mean? I still have to study, so I'm going to sleep for 4 hours, and I'm going to wake up and study for 2 hours. Mind your business. I'm going home. Bye. It is what it is. So it showed me how to discipline myself now to now me as a business owner. My friend's like, you want to go out? Nah, I ain't got no money. I got a pocket full of money, but I ain't got no money. Because I'm not with the, no. I'm working. It is what it is. It helped me balance out my life. But the 33-year-old me would tell keep going. You're better than this. Push it. I probably would have launched it quicker. I probably would have took advantage of that social media spike when I had it. Because I was into it back then and then I stopped. So I probably would have took advantage of that social media spike and took it up a little bit further. You got this. It's like, you can do this. Failure's not an option. And I told myself this back then, so this is the same thing. Like, failure's not an option. Yeah. You got this. You're gonna finish this. You're gonna do this. If you say something to me, you're gonna completely fucking do it with no problem. And that's what I tell myself now. And I gotta get through this. Like, I literally, it's a song I sing. I gotta get through this. When something gets tough, I'm like, I gotta get through this. Cause I mean, it's nothing that you can't not do. And I would also tell myself, the only thing that's pushing me back is myself. That's the truth.
That's the truth. That's the truth. I think this is a good segue to end, just because you dropped a bunch of golden nuggets, and I feel like this talk, like you spoke from the heart, you know.
Oh, thank you.
And you took us through your journey.
It's probably a weird journey, but
nah, definitely not. But where okay, I got one thing before. What's in line for P.S. I Love Me?
Oh, actually, a lot of people don't know. I design shoes.
Oh shit!
I'm a dope.
Okay.
When it comes to me, and okay, I'm gonna give one of my ex-boyfriends the dopest clout. Yes.
Okay.
He helped me and he taught me how to sketch shoes. So I've always had a passion for shoes. I even have it tattooed on my hand, so you know it's real.
Oh, okay.
This is my first shoe I sketched.
Yo.
Yeah. So he taught me how to sketch shoes, and that was one of my passions because it went floor. I have about 4 Bibles about Bible thick of sketches. Okay. So I'm working on that and also mass production.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I also want to take this on the road so I can start talking to people.
Okay. All right. That's dope. I love it. Do you have any handles people can follow you at?
Oh, P.S. I Love Me 87 is Instagram. Tormi Coleman is Facebook, and then I think it's also P.S. I Love Me 87 at Facebook. And then you also can go to psiloveme87.com. That's the website. And then if you want to follow my personal page, that's kind of lame though, but it's BarbieTC at Instagram.com. Is it .com for Instagram?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna link all those up down below. But thank you so much, Tormi. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Because you're one of my dopest, my good friend Christian.
Yeah, that's what's up.